Hello, welcome to this new video. This time I'm going to talk about summarizing, paraphrasing, and quotation. Okay, there are some things that you need to know about these three ways to use the information from another person, from another author. Okay, summarizing is restating information in your own words in a shortened version. Okay, when you summarize, you take the most important points from that reading in order to create another passage in your own words, but never changing the message of the original passage. Okay, you need to remember these things. Summarizing is restating the information in your own words in a shortened version. Okay, a summary is a passage that is shorter than the original version, than the original text or passage. Okay, take that into account. A summary, it says, includes the thesis or central argument and supporting main ideas. That means that you need to forget about the details. Don't include the details in a summary because that is why it is a summary. You only take the most important parts of the passage and create a new one in your own words, but not including the details. It says, never restate main ideas, including the thesis. Do not write a summary like an essay with main points often repeated. Okay, it also says, include direct quotations only when appropriate and sparingly. Do not add, this is very important too, do not add your opinions in the middle of summarizing unless you have clearly marked these ideas as yours and not the original authors. Because if you do that, people, if you include your ideas in the middle of the summary, then it is going to be confusing for the reader. And you need to make it clear that these lines here belong to an author and these ones belong to me. So you need to be careful about that. Okay, but that can be considered plagiarism. And we are avoiding plagiarism. Okay, it says the length of the summary is determined by your purpose in writing it and the length of the original work. Okay, so the length of the summary is going to depend on the length of the original passage or text. This is what a summary is. Always acknowledge the author's last name either in a parenthetical citation or in the body of the text. Now we are going to see what paraphrasing is. Okay, it is different from a summary. A restatement, it says, a paraphrase is a restatement of the original passage in your own words. But be careful, people. Although it is also a restatement in your own words, you need to be clear that a paraphrase includes all the points, okay, even the details, but they are expressed now using your own words. The length of the paraphrase is usually as long as the original. Okay, take that into account. Remember, a summary is shorter than the original, but a paraphrase is usually as long as the original. In this respect, it is different from a summary. Okay? They have two things in common. Well, one thing in common. They are expressed in your own words, but a summary is shorter than the original, but the paraphrase is usually as long as the original. Usually it says only sentences or paragraphs are paraphrased. Here we have an example of a paraphrase. The original passage, it says, okay, you can compare it. I'm going to upload this slide on Google Classroom for you to check it more carefully, okay? You can appreciate here that this text, the original passage, was paraphrased in this way. They are almost the same length, right? And people, remember that we do this in order to avoid plagiarism. It says, for both paraphrasing and summarizing, it is imperative that you understand completely the material. It may take 2 or 3 readings to reach the point where you can restate in your own words what was meant in the original source. This is very important. If you don't understand the original passage, then how can you paraphrase it? How can you summarize it if you don't understand the passage? So you need to take time to understand completely the central message of the original passage in order to make a good work. So that is the first step. Read the passage in order to understand it completely. Okay? Okay, people, in this slide you can see that it says documentation or citation styles. Okay, it says the most widely used styles are MLA, that stands for the Modern Language Association, used in the fields of English, literature, and languages. And also we have the APA style, the American Psychological Association, used in the fields of psychology, communication studies, education, and other social sciences. This semester, I hope that I can explain these 2 styles, okay? The most common, the most widely used styles are the MLA and also the APA. Firstly, we're going to see the APA style. So people, if you want to write a thesis in future, if you want to write a book, a magazine, an article, whatever, now this knowledge is very important, because if you don't know how to use these styles, then your final work is not going to be good. So that is the reason why you need to pay attention to this, because this is a knowledge that you will use it in future if you want to write a thesis, a monograph, an article, I don't know. All of the writers in the world need to know these styles. But there are also some other styles. For example, we have the Chicago Manual of Style, the CBE, Council of Science Editors, but don't worry about them, because we are only going to see these 2, MLA and the APA. Okay, I'm going to explain another thing. Okay, people, now I'm going to talk about quotations. Quotation is another way to use another person's information into your own work. Okay, so pay attention to this. When fewer than 40 words, okay, firstly we need to know what is a quotation. Quotation is when you take a passage literally and put it into your own work. Okay, if you are writing, for example, a composition about let me see what topic, about the problems in family nowadays. Okay, you are writing about that topic, the problems in family nowadays. So you are going to consult different books, okay, and you find one book, you find some information in that book about that problem, and you say, okay, these lines are very interesting and they are very related to my topic. So you are going to take word for word from that information, and you put it in your work directly. Word for word, remember, that is a quotation, but you need to follow some guidelines in order to do it correctly. When fewer than 40 words, you need to use prose quotations in running text, okay? And you need to put quote marks around quoted material, and also you have to include the author's last name, publication year, and page number of quote must appear in the text. That is when we are talking about short quotations. Okay, let's continue. Okay, here I have some examples of short quotations. You say, for example, in this case, Carut, or you can have, for example, any other author, last name, for example, Perez, 1996. Remember, the year in parentheses states that a traumatic response frequently entails a, and this is literally, okay, the words of that author. Delayed, uncontrolled, repetitive appearance of hallucinations and other intrusive phenomena. And finally, you put the page number, okay, page, this is P, period, number of page, 11, then you close it, and finally you have another period. Please look at these details. The period is here and not here. Never forget that. This is a short quotation. And here we have another. A traumatic response frequently entails a, then you open quotation, delay, uncontrolled repetitive appearance of hallucinations and other intrusive phenomena, then you put another quotation mark, and in parentheses you have the author's last name, the year of publication, and also the page number. Okay, this is when you are using short quotations. And here, when we are using long quotations, when they are more than 40 words or more, then you put it in block form. Okay, you have to indent 5 to 7 spaces and omit the quotation marks. Look at this, pay attention to these details. If the quotation has internal paragraphs, indent the internal paragraphs a further 5 to 7 spaces. It says, do not use quotation marks, okay, with long quotations. Double space the block quote, cite the source after the end punctuation of the quote. And here we have another example. Here we have an example of long quotation. May 1993 in parentheses found the following. You see, this is indented and it is in block form. You see, this is block form. Why do you put it this way? Because it contains more than 40 words, and this is something that you need to take into account to make a good job in your composition course. Okay? So this is the explanation of quotation. Now I'm going to explain in-text citation, something that you need to know too, okay? Okay, here we have the slide about the in-text citation, and this is something basic. Okay, what is an in-text citation? An in-text citation helps readers locate the cited source in the reference section of the paper. In-text citations follow either a parenthetical format or narrative format. Something important here, students, is that when you paraphrase, when you summarize, and when you quote any author, you have to include the information of the authors. Okay? If you paraphrase one paragraph, you need to include an in-text citation in order to know who said that. Okay? So here we have two ways to make in-text citations. We have parenthetical format, and also we have the narrative format. It says, a parenthetical citation includes both the author's last name and year of publication separated by a comma, in parentheses at the end of the sentence. Okay? Like in this example, research suggests that the Purdue OWL is a good resource for students. So, as you can see, in parentheses we have the information of the author Atkins and also a comma, and then the year of publication 2018, close the parentheses, then we have a period. It could be a line that was paraphrased, okay, or probably summarized, but the important thing here is that there is an author here. That means that this line belongs to this author. This is a parenthetical citation. Okay, you express the line or the paragraph or the lines, and then you have the author in parentheses and the year of publication. But we also have a narrative citation, which include the author's name directly in the sentence with a year of publication directly following the author's last name, like in this. Atkins, then parentheses, 2018, close the parentheses, then suggests that the Purdue OWL is a good resource for students. This is different, okay? Because in this case, you are using the author is at the beginning of the sentence. You say, Atkins suggests. You can say Gonzalez stated Rodriguez expressed that, and then you continue writing what that author expressed. Let's see another slide. It says, if the source you are citing includes page numbers, add the information to your citation. For a parenthetical citation, the page number follows the year of publication separated by a comma and with a lowercase p and a period before the number. Example, research suggests that the Purdue OWL is a good resource for students. Then you include the author's last name, the year of publication, and finally the page number, like in this case. And when you have a narrative citation, the page number comes at the end of the sentence, once again preceded by a lowercase p and a period. Atkins 2018 suggests that the Purdue OWL is a good resource for students, and then finally you have the page number. So people, I'm going to upload this information also to Google Classroom for you to check it. Okay, these two slides are specifically in the file about the APA style, slides 23 and 24. So this is all about this topic. Okay, so see you in our next video. If you have any question, please let me know. Have a good time.